Today, Baba is underlining the importance of recognizing the time. And you see, it's important to know who you are. It's very important to know Baba. But it's also very, very important to recognize time. And sometimes, you know you're a soul. You know you have to take power from Baba. But you don't become aware that you have to do it right now. And sometimes you become lazy. Sometimes you don't underline the now. And then time is slipping away. And once time is lost, it never comes back. So it's very important to recognize time. I remember there was this one classmate of mine, and he was very talented, very good student. And some days back, I happened to meet him somewhere. And then I asked him, where did you do your post-graduation? So he said this university or something. And then I said, but you could have done better. Why did you choose this university? Why didn't you apply for the other one? So he said, when the forms came out, I missed them. I lost sense of time. Although I knew that they would be, the form would be coming out at this time, I just missed it. And you see, his whole career changed. His admission changed, his whole course next changed. And I was just thinking how important it is to do the right thing at the right time. And I remember Badi Didi used to always tell us that when there was partition, at that time, those who were living in what is now called Pakistan, so they were given forms, and they were said that, when you go to the other part, when you move to what will be called India, then what you do is you fill in this form whatever property you have here. So, the amount of land you have here or whatever are your possessions, give the details of that. And then the government will give you an equivalent in India. And then some people just didn't fill the form. They said, oh, it's the partition, what will one form do? And this government will not do anything. And they just didn't fill the form. And when they came, they realized that everybody who had filled the form was getting whatever they had filled in the form. And then they couldn't go back and get it filled. So you see, sometimes if you miss that one moment, then it never comes back. And it's very important because you see, there is no real method to recognize time. But time can be recognized by Baba Shrimat. And Baba tells us that, you see, we say that we have faith in Baba. And Baba is giving us the knowledge of time. But if we are not paying absolute attention to the knowledge of time, and we are not doing what time demands, then we don't have faith in Baba. Yes, so we say that, we say that we have faith in Baba, but when Baba says that now this is the end of the Kali Yuga and you're just on the brink of Satyuga and prepare yourself. And if we are not doing that as much as we should, so how many of you, if I ask you, are you making the effort that you should, or are you making the effort that you can or that you want? So you see that we know there's a gap in that, because we understand from knowledge that this is the effort that I should make. But when I check what I'm doing, then it falls short of what I should do. But then if I have this, if I have this repentance right now that I'm not doing as much as I should, then what will happen in the end? Do I want to live with repentance? So this is why Baba says that you have to recognize the time and you have to do whatever I ask you to do. And how do you recognize time? You don't recognize anything other than Baba. But the good fortune is we recognize Baba. And then whatever Baba says is true. So even if I cannot figure out a logical, technical, scientific reason for whatever Baba is saying, but if I have faith in Baba, then I have faith in whatever he says. And when he says that this is the time, then I recognize that this is the time and I do the needful. Because you see, basically, spiritual truths can only be recognized with spiritual power, which we don't have. Yes, so if you have never studied physics, can you refute or, can you refute or support a statement of physics? No. Why? Because you have not studied physics. You are not a physicist. Similarly, if we don't have spiritual power, we don't have the eligibility to denounce or, vet spiritual truths. We don't have that capacity because we don't have that spiritual power right now. But the interesting thing is, according to our drama, we have the capacity to recognize Baba. And when Baba comes, and of course we don't even have the capacity to go looking for Baba and find out Baba. But when Baba comes to me and I and Baba are alone, then I recognize this is Baba. And this is the most important capacity, that I recognize this is Baba, and then God is truth, so whatever he tells me is true. And then I have to surrender and do as he says, because he knows I don't know. But if I just do as he says, then I will get the full benefit of what he knows and I don't know. But if I try to, knack my brain where I don't know, then I will be in a place where I'll not be able to take the benefit of the ocean of knowledge, because I don't know and I don't have faith in the ocean of knowledge, so how can I take benefit? So this is the beautiful thing. And Baba says that we have become impure right from the, so you see, right from day one, when we start in this play, we only deplete, right? First, from Satyug to Treta Yuga also we are depleting, but the rate is very slow. So then we don't mind it. But from the Copper Age to the Iron Age, the depletion is acute and very fast. And we have only been depleting until now. And Baba says this is the time, the only time to recharge, the only time to move from Tamo Pradhan to Sato Pradhan, from the most depleted to the most pure. So this is the time. And what is the method? The method is A, to remember Baba, and B, to choose purity while living in the household. So Baba doesn't ask us to leave the world of impurity. Baba doesn't tell us leave your family, children, spouse, parents. No, Baba says, but leave lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed. And when you leave that, then what happens? People are very happy with you. Yes? No. I remember, sometimes we feel that people are unhappy when we leave lust. But, it's not like only with lust. I'll tell you, there was this one Kanya, and she came to the center, and she told me, my father, after he became a BK, he doesn't get angry when some guy in my college or somebody in my vicinity, they look at me with evil eye. My father doesn't get angry, and I don't like it. So earlier he used to just go and beat up the guy. But now he doesn't do that after he became a BK, and I feel that he is not protective towards me. So you see, so if you are the violent kind, if you are somebody who abuses, if you're somebody who fights, then people like you because they have a gangster unpaid and you're doing that job for them. And so, if we live in a world where our vices are advantageous to some people, and when you leave them, they will not like it. And I remember there was a brother, and he told me, I have 4 sons and only one of them is useful, the other 3 are useless. So I said, why? The 4th one doesn't earn. So he said, no, the 3 earn. So I said, the 3 don't earn, only the 1 earns. So he said, no, all 3 of them earn, the 4th one, which I like, doesn't earn. So I said, then how is it? So he said, all my 3 sons, they became engineers, and now they are techies, and they are corporate slaves, and they are no good for me because I have money. I don't need their money. But I live in a village. I need protection. And only my youngest son, he gives me protection. He will kill anybody who comes and messes with me. So I have only one good son. So I said, what if he stops killing? So he said, then he'll be useless. So think about it, you see. So when you live in this world, then you don't, so people will not like you to become viceless if your vices are benefiting them. Yes, if you're greedy, if your greed is feeding somebody's stomach, they will not like when you stop being greedy. Yes, so these are the things that, and Baba says that first thing is you remember Baba, but then you have to be pure. And when you choose purity, there is a lot of resistance that comes from people who are very close to you. Because mostly the ones who benefit from our lust, anger, ego, attachment, greed are the ones who are very close to us. Yes, and then when you stop being that, then they don't like it. And especially about lust, when you say that I don't want to engage in lust, then slowly you know that your marriage, which you thought is a relationship of love, is not a relationship of love, it's a relationship of lust. And then your marriage is falling apart because the foundation is being shaken. That's the foundation of the marriage. So all along you thought that the foundation of your marriage is love, but it is not, because when you remove the lust, it feels like the whole foundation is shaken. And I remember there was this one Mata, and she told me that I thought my husband loved me very much, but when I chose purity, he heated the tongs on fire and he uh, placed it on my hand and burnt my hand. And then I realized that no, this has got nothing to do with love. And then I thought that if this has got nothing to do with love, then why care? So why care about the opinion? And you see that one thing is, you see that when somebody chooses something and it makes you uncomfortable, then of course you throw tantrums, you resist, you try to pull that person back. All of that is fine. But then if you can hurt somebody, if you can be abusive, then it was never about love. Yes, so somebody throwing tantrums or somebody just putting pressure on you, emotionally blackmailing you, all that I understand, because you want something and now they are not wanting it, so you are trying to cajole them to be on the same page. But then if somebody can hurt you and somebody can be abusive and somebody can just trouble you, then that is not about love. So what I have understood is, you see, in relationships, if relationships are founded on selfishness, relationships are mostly selfish, and when people don't get what they want from you, then they can go to any extent to harm you. But then why care about somebody who can harm you if they don't get what they want? So Baba says that when you choose purity, then there will be a lot of resistance. And when there is resistance, what is the attitude you have? You have the attitude of good wishes and good feelings, because you understand that you are choosing something that they don't like. So when somebody doesn't understand something, they will resist it, and you should be okay with it. Yes, but that resistance has to be within limits. And if that resistance is turning into violence and stuff, then you understand that it is not about love and relationship. It is a very selfish way in which this relationship is working. And then you don't mind at all, because when there is no relationship, why mind? So this is one thing. Then second thing is, okay, so this is about what other people are doing. But the bigger challenge is not what other people do to you. The biggest challenge is your own sanskars. And I remember, way back when I started on this journey, I had listened to a class. And in that class, that Didi explained that the first resistance comes from the world, outer world. The second stage of resistance comes from your close ones. But the final resistance that comes is from your own sanskars. And at that time, I was in a stage where I was facing resistance from the outer world, not the close ones or inner sanskars. So I really didn't believe it. And I believe that when I am doing it, then obviously I want to do it, so I'm doing it. So then why would my sanskars resist me? But you see, when you're fighting the battle outside, you're you are in harmony within. But when that fight stops, that battle outside stops, then the battle inside starts. And you see, just like you see, when two Indians are in India, they won't fight with when two Indians are outside India, they will have love for each other because they are fighting others. But when they are in India, they'll fight with each other. So it's something like that. And then you have to come to that place where, everything outside is quiet, but then your inner struggle starts. And what is your inner struggle? So there are two things that Baba talks about. One is the bondage of the impure codes of conducts of society. Impure code of conduct that society sets for us. So there are societal norms, there are codes of conduct that the society sets for us, and they are all based on impure belief systems, but you have adhered to them for very, very long. And basically those codes of conducts that the society laid for you, you have also conformed to them for very, very long. So now they are also part of your belief system. Yes, so let's take one big belief system. So when you don't fulfill the lustful desires of your partner, then you are doing injustice to them. Yes, and it is your duty as a spouse to feed the stomach of lust of your partner. And this is an impure code of conduct which has been taught to us. And you see, especially with women, if you look at even the big saints who do satsang, they will say that the dharma of the woman is to keep their man happy. It's the religion of the woman, and it's the dharma of the woman that the man should be kept happy. And if the man is not happy, then you are doing some kind of sin. And then what happens is you have conformed to this for so long. And I remember there was one sadhu I heard once talking, and he said that if you're not dressing well and if you're not attractive enough for your husband, and then he casts his eye on other women, then that's okay, because that's something you invited. Yes, and if you look at other religions, also it is the same. And I remember there was in one religion, there was a woman asking whether it is okay for a man to not seek permission from the woman to have second marriage when he is outside the country. Then the Prophet said that it is okay for the man to have second marriage anywhere, within the country, outside the country, and he doesn't require any permission. And there are these things that are told and taught, and then you see what happens is when you listen to something for ages, it's been in the culture for 2500 years, and it's slowly getting more intense, and so it's also part of your belief system, isn't it? It's not just outside, it's also part of your belief system. Or just think about this belief system that it's a duty of the son to get married and give happiness to his parents. Yes, if the son doesn't get married, then the parents are very unhappy, and then the parents will just cry and say that this is the only thing we asked from you, and you're not doing it, so it makes us very unhappy, and then you fall into that trap of the belief system. And what do you do when your own belief systems are chained by the codes of conduct, that the impure codes of conduct that society has given you for so long? Or you see that it's the mother's dharma to prepare the daughter for marriage. Yes, so right when the daughter is born, you see, I remember that, very early on, like when the daughter is, as far as you can remember, at the age of 3, 2, mothers start whispering into their ears that you have to get married, and you have to do this to get married and do that to get married, and it's all about that. And there are, in many parts of the country, there are many pujas and rituals which young kanyas they do to get a good husband, and at the age of 4, 5 they start performing those rituals, and they are worshipping the moon to have a husband with the face of a moon and things like that. so so all of these things are happening, and then what do you do? So how do you, because you see, you are also programmed in that way, so how do you stop it? Because when you stop it, there is internal resistance and external resistance. And I remember there is this one relative in our family, and there was this ritual where the young girl, she looks at the moon and prays, and she asks for a good husband, and that girl was 5 years old, and then we stopped her from going and participating in that ritual. So I said, don't go to your dadi's house, and don't do this. And she didn't go, and then her dadi came shouting at me. So she came and shouted at me, and she said, so how can you just brainwash my granddaughter, and you cannot do this? And so you see, these things are not they don't stop without resistance. And then if you and if it's about your own also, somebody you are entrusted with, still there are external influences which you have to fight. And Baba says that it is your duty to be pure and to also not push your children on the path of impurity. Because you see, it may not be pushing, but it is, this slowly you are, somewhere you are pushing. So when you condition them right from childhood into marriage and this and that, then what are you doing? You are training them to be impure, and your own ideas are also that, it is my dharma to keep the man happy, or it is my dharma to get married and keep my parents happy, or there is also this idea that your life is successful only when you have a good marriage. A good marriage is one of the parameters of a successful life, and most people don't have good marriages, but at least they spend their whole life showing they have a good marriage, because they don't want to look unsuccessful. So then success is defined by whether you have a marriage that is apparently working or not working. And then if you have, so there are many kinds of belief systems, and you know, there is also this belief system that घर में सुख शांति होनी चाहिए. So, you know, there should be peace and happiness in the family, and don't mind the cost. So, so it doesn't matter what the cost is, but there should be peace and happiness in the family. And mostly what happens is the one who is loud and abusive gets his way, because the one who is softer and sweeter, they believe that being submissive is the only way to peace and happiness, and giving in to the demands of the one who is loud and abusive is the only way to maintain peace and happiness in the family. And people think that if you're standing up for something which is important and which Baba tells you, and it leads to an argument or it leads to a quarrel in the family, then leave that, leave God, leave his Srimad, but maintain peace and happiness in the family. And I remember there was this one Mata, and she was in acute depression, and I asked her, why are you in this condition? So she said, my husband was always very angry and nobody could speak in front of him. And you know, when you can't speak your mind and you always have to keep thinking what is the right thing to speak in this situation that he will like, then you end up like this. And she said that my son is also the same, and I asked my daughter-in-law also to do the same thing as I did, but she's not listening. So then what is happening is the family is falling apart. So I said, but I don't know whether family is falling apart or you know, this is how it should have been many years ago. So there are many things that, and you see, Baba teaches us to tolerate, Baba teaches us to adjust, Baba teaches us all of this, but you have to know that you don't have to cross your line of maryada and adjust. Baba doesn't say that even if it costs you your purity, you adjust. No. So Baba says, fill yourself with spiritual power, and yes, there will be resistance, tolerate all of that, but do the right thing. So Baba tells us that you have to do the right thing and also be spiritually powerful, not fool yourself by thinking that giving into the wrong thing is adjusting and tolerating. So you have to be full of, and what do I mean by this? So you see, when somebody is pushing you for the wrong thing, wrong according to Baba, not wrong according to you. So when someone is pushing you for the wrong thing, then what you do is you take whatever they do, but don't do that wrong thing. That is called tolerance. So whatever they say and do is okay. You don't mind it, but you don't do the wrong thing. It's not like you give in to what they want and then you adjust. That's not adjustment. So Baba tells us that, but in all of this you have to overcome your own conditioning, and you have to be totally convinced that what I have been told and taught until now is not my dharma. My dharma, my swadharma is purity, and staying pure and encouraging everybody to be pure and walk on the path of purity is my original dharma. Okay, so this is one thing. And then second thing Baba says is, if you are influenced by people's opinions, then this path is very difficult. Because you see, I understand somebody beating you up, but I don't understand your discomfort when somebody is just giving their opinion. Yes, and if you are disturbed by somebody saying something, then that's your problem. And you have to be in a place where you understand, because the first thing that Baba teaches us is every soul is different, their ideas are different, their opinions are different, and that's completely okay. And whatever anybody is speaking is not about you, it's an opinion, and you don't mind it. But if you are disturbed by somebody's opinion, if you are disturbed by somebody saying something, then you have to work on yourself, because then you cannot walk on the path of purity. Yes, and I remember there was one person and they said that, you know what, there is everything wrong about you. There's nothing right about you. Whatever you are doing is absolutely wrong. So I said, and who says that? So he said, I say that. So I said, okay. And who asks, how does your opinion matter? Will anybody in this country listen to your opinion? No. So I also don't mind your opinion. You can give enough of it and keep it to yourself. So you see that this is how it is. So somebody telling you something is just an opinion. Why do you care so much? And you can even say that you are welcome to your opinion, but I don't mind. But the thing is, if you really care for somebody's opinion, if opinions hurt you, if you're so affected, and some people are affected by public opinion, not even the opinion of people you are attached to, but public opinion. You know, what will the world say? And there was this one Mata, and I asked her, why don't you wear white? So she said, when I come on the street, then people look at me differently. So I said, and that bothers you? So she said, yes. And I said, and then you call yourself a Brahma Kumari. So what spiritual strength have you received that somebody's drishti can upset you and unsettle you? So you have to work on these two things. Your inner belief systems, which are colored by the impure codes of conduct of the society. And then the second thing is your tendency to get affected by other people's opinion. Because if you have these two traits, then you cannot walk on the path of purity. It's not possible. And once I heard Dadi Janki say something very beautiful. She said, I am where I am today just because I don't care about social opinions. And this is very profound, and you have to check that. Okay, Om Shanti.